Hi, welcome back to another one of my videos. This drawing took me for freaking ever, but I wanted to take this video to explain a couple of things that have been going on in life. Some of the things that I've been seeing, and I know it's all over TikTok, at least for me, and y'all might be like, oh, TikTok's not a reliable source, but there are some things that are seriously going on. One thing is a lot of the anti-trans thing. That's the main thing I want to talk to you, and I've only got like 10 minutes to do so that's exactly what I'm going to spend this entire video doing. So basically there have been over 400 anti-trans bills being passed in about somewhere around 40 states, somewhere like 40, 42, somewhere around that zone. There's only a couple of like quote-unquote safe states, and by that it just means that there haven't been any laws passed in those states, or maybe they've passed laws against those bills that are being passed and stuff like that, but you don't know if they're going to be safe forever. Some states have passed it where kids are now being forced to detransition in a year, not allowed to talk about it in school. If you tell a teacher, they are allowed to, more like they have to, out you to your family. Even if your family is not a safe environment, there have been many people speaking on this subject. However, there was one very anti-trans guy who spoke, and his words were, transgenderism as an ideology has to be eradicated from public life entirely. Believe those were his words. If not, it's pretty dang close to it. That makes me, myself, very uncomfortable, as a trans guy myself. So, yeah. Plus, they're making it where parents can no longer support you. Like I said, people are being forced to detransition. People aren't giving the option to detransition. They're banning drag shows, because apparently drag hurts children. What part of that hurts children? There are many posts I've seen where drag is sexual and yada yada yada. But it's not. There have been more cases, way more cases in the recent years of pastors and priests and people who are in churches and policemen, firemen, etc. People of actual status, like really high status. I don't want to say actual status, but like really high status, who are involved in sexualizing children more often than drag is, because drag is just about being who you are and just expressing yourself. A guy can express femininity and not get bashed for it because they do drag. It may sound like I'm not really into this, but I really am. Like, I've been doing research on this, and it's really frustrating to me as, again, a trans man myself, to see this. Like, I already get bashed for it. My first day of school at this school last year when I had transferred, I was literally made fun of and called a thing. And not even a human being, a thing, because I looked like a guy but was forced to sit on the girl's side of the bus. And then there are a lot of cases where there's this 12-year-old girl, I believe, who was talking about how she goes to a trans camp every summer where everybody there is trans. The counselors, like the camp counselors, all the people there, they're all trans people in some way or another, to help everyone feel comfortable. But there are states that don't allow that. And me personally, I would love to go to this camp. This camp sounds like fun. I want to do more research into that. But there's so much going on. And she was speaking up for the people in this different state and how they're not allowed to be themselves and how that makes her really sad. I saw a mother speaking about her son. I saw a sister speaking about her brother. I saw I want to say 10-year-old boy speaking about it. 10-year-old son, yes. A 10-year-old boy speaking about it. Because it's not fair to be taking away our human rights. Plus, there's this thing that's been going around on Twitter where it's LGB without the T, where they just completely bash trans people and say, well, it's not a sexuality, so it shouldn't be included. It's not about sexualities, it's about sexualities and gender identity and anything that fits under that umbrella. So the fact that some people are doing that is insanely stupid. And then on top of that, I mean, those aren't the only issues going around. I mean, when I correct people on my pronouns, when they call me a girl or they say she and I say, oh, actually it's he, I'm a guy, They just completely ignore me. This has happened at school. This has happened in my workplace. Like, this happens everywhere. Because people don't want to accept that. And of course, because I still dress feminine, people don't really understand. They're like, oh, how are you a trans guy, if you still dress feminine? Because I'm actually a demi boy, which means I use they and he pronouns. Which basically means that I can dress however the frick I want to. Like, anyone can. Even if you are a cis white male, you can dress how you want. It should not matter how you look. And then another thing I've been seeing going around is this one video on my For You page, the one sound, and it's being called, like, feminine rage and, like, female rage, and how trans people, trans female to male, still relate to it. Like, they will always have that feminine rage in them. And it's, give me 1 second. Okay, I found it. I call it the Too Much Labor song. I know that's not what it's called. But it's, you make me do too much labor all day, every day, therapist, mother, maid, nurse, then a virgin. Oops, I messed that up, but, either way, it's nymph, then a virgin, nurse, then a servant, but it's talking about women and how they're being forced to, like, conform to everything, because, a girl can't walk alone, even if she's over the age of 21. She does not feel comfortable walking alone to her apartment that is a mile away from her house, without having some sort of, whether she's got friends with her, she's got weapons with her, like, that's the only way she'll feel comfortable walking home, and even then she doesn't feel comfortable. And then on top of that, like, again, not only is it that, but there's so many things that can go wrong. Like, girls get roofied more often than men do, because they're easier to take advantage of. The amount of times I've seen posts where people were talking about how these young girls are getting raped, sexually assaulted, and then they're just like, oh, I bet it was bubblegum pink, and stupid things like that. And I'm like, how are you gonna say something like that? Like, these people. And then you'll talk about it, and you'll say it's all these men, and then these men will come at you and be like, it's not all men. And they'll get so upset over that. But then it's, oh, all women are bad drivers, all women are overly emotional, all women are this, all women are that. But they don't really care. A lot of the times when someone gets defensive and goes, oh, it's not all men though, like, it's not me. Probably because they've had thoughts of or have committed these kinds of acts. I'm not saying it's all of them, but it's 97% of women. 1 in 4 people, 1 in 4 women get raped or sexually assaulted in the U.S., and that's only the people who've said something about it. 1 in 3 people in the UK it happens to. So just think about that. And I don't care what you think you can do. Whether it's speaking about it like I am here, even though I don't have a large range of viewers, I don't have a lot of followers. I've spoke about it on my TikTok platform, but it's too much. And the fact that I'm a 16-year-old trans guy, and I have to look at this and see this and realize I might get killed for being who I am. Because that can happen. I mean, there was a girl who was killed not too long ago for being trans, but nothing was done about it. Nothing. Literally nothing was done about it. 1% of all rape cases in a year, the assaulter gets arrested or taken care of. But then 99% of the time, it doesn't happen. Nothing happens. They get away scot-free. And did you know that if a girl goes in and she goes to a doctor and complains about, like, her stomach hurting, things like that, she's given a little bit of medicine and told to go home, she'll be fine. There are several stories where that has happened to women and they go back in. Even though they've already explained they're in excruciating pain, they have to go back in because they're on the verge of death. Well, if a guy complains about how he stubs his toe, he's given, like, heavy dosage medicine. I mean, not the stub the toe part, but, like, if he complains about the same thing, he'll be treated differently than a woman would. And I don't get how that makes sense at all. Did you know that for every dollar a man earns, a woman still only earns 80 cents? Which means basically for a whole month out of the year, women earn nothing, while men earn what they usually earn. A whole month of the year. That means a whole month out of 12 months a woman is working, she's not getting paid, basically. because of the gap difference. Not to mind that people of color and different races also get paid less. Like, it's not equal, it's not fair. It's either in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, one of those two, that it literally states if this government gets so corrupt, we are allowed to tear it down and build it back up. We, the people, can tear it down and build it back up. And I'm starting to think that that's the point that we're getting at. Because it's not getting better. I see all the good in this world, but I also see all the bad, and it's not getting better. And it needs to be getting better. And no, I don't have a piece of paper that I'm reading off of. So when I pause, I'm genuinely thinking about what to say next. Because there's just so much going on that needs to be fixed. But I'm also almost out of time for this video. So I hope you learned something today. And I hope you understand the pain that we the people are going through. And I genuinely hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.